So we are in the Book of Beginnings, Canto 4, The Secret Knowledge.
Yes. Should I start, Narad, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. Obedient to world nature's dumb control, driven by his own formidable power, his chosen partner in a titan game, her will he has made the master of his fate. Her whim the dispenser of his pleasure and pain, he has sold himself into her regal power for any blow or boon that she may choose, even in what is suffering to our sense. He feels the sweetness of her mastering touch. In all experience meets her blissful hands. On his heart he bears the happiness of her tread, and the surprise of her arrival's joy in each event and every moment's chance.
You read that very well, Shilpa, very well.
Thank you.
We have a couple things. Surprise,
Mhm.
not surprise, but surprise.
Surprise, okay. No emphasis on R.
So let's go, yeah, exactly. Let's go through all these lines because they're very, very, very clear.
Mhm.
The Purusha has given Prakriti all the power,
Mhm.
and therefore he has made her even the master of his fate. And her whim is her fancy.
Mhm.
Uh, the dispenser, one who bestows or administers.
Mhm.
So her whim is the dispenser of his pleasure and pain. This is, of course, on the earthly level, not
Mhm.
on the supramental level where they're absolutely one. There's no separation in them. But there's a separation when the divine creates the world and comes down himself into this world because he has to be as humans are, even though he is the divine. So he has to limit his power as he descends, and the divine creatrix also has to limit her power. And at the very bottom, on the material level, she becomes nature. And so this is basically the discussion here. At this level, you see, he's her chosen partner in a Titan game, a huge, gigantic, immense game. And we have to remember that it is a game for the divine. He is throwing himself into these billions of beings, of forms, to see other aspects of himself. And each of the beings who are on this earth are a different aspect of himself.
Okay.
So now we see that Prakriti's whim is the one who administers or bestows his pleasure and pain because he has sold himself into her regal power. Notice it's a regal power here.
Right.
It's a divine power, kingly power, queenly power, for any blow or boon that she may choose. So it even goes so far as to say that even in what is suffering to our sense, because he's the divine, he feels the sweetness of her mastering touch. And in all experience, in all the 9 billion experiences that he has on this earth, he meets her blissful hands. And even on his heart, he bears the happiness of her tread And we've read before how he gives his chest for
Yes.
Prakriti to dance on.
Right. Yes.
So on his heart he bears the happiness of her tread and the surprise of her arrival's joy, because nature's always surprising us with her changes and her creations and her destructions. And so he says, in every event and in every moment's chance, in the chance of every moment, she is there giving him a surprise. Huh?
Right.
So now
Yeah.
we're going to learn even a lot more. Sri Aurobindo's not finished yet.
Narad sir, the 9 billion experiences that you were talking about, is there
Yeah.
this number is coming from, is this like a Vedic number or?
No, it's the population of the earth.
Oh, okay, understood. Okay, so all the beings is what you're saying. Okay,
Exactly right.
okay,
Well, I think India is now 1.3 billion,
right.
and
Okay,
China's like 1.2 billion.
yes,
So that's 2.5 billion just in two
billion, right
countries.
there. Yes, okay,
Okay,
makes
so we
sense.
move on.
Okay.
Good.
Uh, all she can do is marvelous in his sight. He reveals in her a swimmer in her sea,
Now the
a
word
time,
is revels.
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 Okay,
Revel
revel.
is it's a festivity, making merry.
Okay,
So
got
he
it.
makes merry in her, and he's a
Got it.
swimmer in her sea.
See,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
carry on.
yeah. He revels in her, a swimmer in her sea, a tireless amateur of her world delight. He rejoices in her every thought and act,
Yeah,
and
you didn't.
gives.
He rejoices in her every thought and act.
He rejoices in her every
No,
thought.
no, no,
No?
not in her every thought and act.
Ah, okay. He
Good, good. No,
rejoices in her every thought and act, and
yes,
gives consent to all that she can wish. Whatever she desires, he wills to be. The Spirit, the innumerable one, he has left behind his lonely eternity. He is an endless worth in endless time. Her finite's multitude in an infinite space.
so now we're taking this to be much, much wider. Huh?
Right.
And so we see that all she can do is marvelous in his sight. And he revels in her. He's like a swimmer in her sea. He's a tireless amateur of her world delight.
Mhm.
And he rejoices in her every thought and act. Well, we know that Prakriti, the divine creatrix, is working on every aspect, every act, every creation, every destruction, every idea, and the Purushottama, Ishvara, gives consent to all that the creatrix can wish.
Mhm.
And whatever she desires, he wills to be. So he doesn't act
Mhm.
except to witness and to will
Mhm.
whatever she wants.
Okay.
So the Spirit, capital S, Spirit, the innumerable one,
Mhm.
both of these are referring to the divine.
Right. Yeah.
And he says in one of his letters on yoga, the Spirit is the consciousness above mind, the Atman or self, which is always in oneness with the divine. So the Spirit is the self existent being with an infinite power of consciousness and unconditioned delight in its being. And that's from the essays on the Gita. So it's a consciousness that doesn't need even to think because it's above all of that. So it's a spacious freedom, this spirit, and it's one with the divine creation or the divine person, if you wish. Now, we get to this next line. He has left behind his lone eternity. Well, in order to create, the divine has to go from the transcendence through the supermind or the supermental, and that's where creation starts. So he has to enter from his transcendent consciousness into the supermind and then down into the levels of overmind and intuitive mind, illumined mind, and higher mind. Therefore, he has left behind his lone eternity. But yet, he still is an endless birth in endless time. This is very important for us to understand that the divine is never anything but an endless birth in endless time. So there's no conceptual movement of time and space in the Godhead in us. Time and space are not limited, so his endless birth and endless time is not limited at all. But her finite multitude, so in other words, the creating aspect of Prakriti, it's a multitude, no doubt, millions and millions of creations every moment and destructions at every moment to raise the level of the evolution higher. But of course, Prakriti normally has millions of years to do it. And so she brings forth the dinosaurs, and when that experiment is over, she brings other creatures. Finally, she brings the animal man, etc., etc. But her finite, the multitude of the finite things she does occurs in an infinite space.
Okay.
So we continue on now.
Sure.
And this is most beautiful because this is one of my favorite passages.
Okay. The master of existence lurks in us and plays at hide and seek with his own force. In nature's instrument loiters secret God.
So this is very, very important. Sri Aurobindo uses two interesting words here, very interesting. One is lurks, and one is loiters. That when you loiter, you seem to linger aimlessly.
Right.
You know, and lurk is sort of hiding.
Right. Yeah.
So the master of existence, that is the divine, lurks in us. And he plays at hide and seek with his own force. So he is playing at hide and seek in each one of us. And we have all these veils in front of us that have been created from our families, our environment, our education, etc. And so he plays at hide and seek behind those veils with his own force. And then we see that in nature's instrument, that's mankind, nature's instrument.
Okay.
So mankind loiters, hangs around, the secret God hangs around in man. his instrument.
Okay.
Sometimes we have to render it a little bit into prose to
Right.
understand it better. But you got everything so far,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Very
Very,
beautiful.
very good. Okay, we're going to continue on with this beautiful passage.
Sure. The immanent lives in man as.
No, the immanent lives in man.
Oh, sorry. The immanent lives in man as in his house. He has made the universe his pastimes field, a vast gymnasium of his works of night, of might, all
Yes.
knowing,
No, we'll
all.
stop there because we had a full stop there.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But we see that the immanent is the deity. It's the divine. He
Right.
capitalizes the I,
Mhm.
and he calls it, in the synthesis of yoga, he is the cosmic spirit and all
Right.
creating energy around us. He is the immanent within us.
Mhm.
And then this incredible passage that I have to share with you that I've quoted to people hundreds of times because it is so beautiful. It begins with all that is he. So the dictionary doesn't like that because he puts two ises together.
Oh,
But Sri Aurobindo can do that as much as he wants. All that is he. And he is the more than all that is. And we ourselves, though we know it not, are being of his being, force of his force, consciousness, conscious with a consciousness derived from his. Even our mortal existence is made out of his substance, and there is an immortal within us that is a spark of the light and bliss that are forever. No matter whether by knowledge, works, love, or any other means, to become aware of this truth of our being, to realize it, to make it effective here or elsewhere, is the object of all yoga. What a passage, huh?
wow. Yeah.
From the synthesis of yoga.
Okay.
So the last line then, he has made the universe his pastimes field.
Field.
Now the universe would tell us that it's not just the earth, it's all the planets, all the solar systems that he has made this universe the field of his pastime. That's all. And then he has also made it a vast gymnasium of his works of might. And we see his works of might in so many different things. We see it in the creativity of man. We see it in the workings of nature,
Mm-hmm.
which Prakriti is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand these lines much better now and will continue all knowing.
Sure. All knowing, he accepts our darkened state, divine, wears shapes of animal or man, eternal, he ascends to fate and time, immortal, tallies with mortality.
Wow. He is all knowing, and therefore, being all knowing, he can accept our darkened state.
Mhm.
Because when we take birth in a human body, we are in a darkened state. The child doesn't know anything at all except
Mhm.
maybe his mother's breast, maybe her touch.
Mhm.
So the divine is eternal, and
Mhm.
he gives his agreement. He assents to fate and time. And I think we've discussed fate many times before.
Mhm.
And he's immortal. And he dallies with mortality. Now, see, that's an interesting word. Dallies. Dallies means sort of behaving in a careless manner, toying with mortality, lingering with mortality. So he is immortal, and at the same time, he's dallying with mortality. It's sort of behaving in a careless manner. And now he's going to tell us what he did. What did this divine do?
The all conscious ventured into ignorance. The all blissful bore to be insensible.
A conscious soul live in a conscious world. This is so magnificent. So we see, first of all, that because he is all conscious, he can also venture into ignorance. He can go into ignorance. And ignorance, of course, we have learned it is from the life divine, the absence of the divine eye of perception, which gives us the sight of the supramental truth. Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. It is the non perceiving principle in our consciousness, as opposed to the truth perceiving conscious vision and knowledge. So the all conscious has ventured into, made an entry into ignorance. But why did he do that? And then we have, oh, was there another line there? Or do we go to the next page 77?
No, we are on 67.
Sorry, 67, yeah.
Yeah.
59, 67. I made a mistake here. Oh dear, here we are. Okay. Yeah. The all blissful. So now he's talking about the divine, right? The Lord. So if first thing he says is the all blissful, and let's make a note that Sri Aurobindo has capitalized the word all, and he's capitalized the word blissful, and then he hyphenates it. So he wants us to know that he has created one word out of two, all blissful. We shouldn't say the all blissful, but the all blissful, or to be insensible, unconscious, unaware. So, but he bore to be that. He accepted that, and that's very critical for us to understand. We say, how can the divine be insensible? How can it be unaware and unconscious? Well, we have to go back to the first thing we read about tonight. It's a game. The divine is playing a game with himself and with his Shakti, or his creatrix. So now we see that the all blissful bore accepted to be insensible. And now he's going to tell us much more about the divine, and then we'll end there.
Okay.
We've got 6 lines to go.
Sure. Incarnate in a world of strife and pain, it puts on joy and sorrow like a robe, and drinks experience like a strengthening wine.
Okay, he's incarnate. He's the divine embodied in flesh. That's what incarnate means.
Right.
The divine embodied in a human form. So he is embodied in this human form in this world of strife and pain. There's a comma there after pain, because he wants us to know that the divine also puts on joy and sorrow like a robe.
Mhm.
It's not something that is um, a problem for him at all. He puts it on like a robe that you can just take off. And he drinks experience, all the experience of the world. He drinks like a strengthening wine. And we got a couple more lines.
Okay. He whose transcendence rules the pregnant vasts, prescient now, dwells in our subliminal depths, a luminous individual, our alone.
Hmm. Now, um, next week we're going to get into one of the great, great passages of Savitri.
Mhm.
So right now, we're just going to stop here.
Okay.
He whose transcendence rules the pregnant vast. The pregnant vast is the teeming or fertile vast. It's filled with meaning or significance. And that's what our earth is and what we are on this earth. But he's prescient, he's fully aware. He has the foreknowledge. Prescience means
Yeah.
knowledge of actions before they occur. But he dwells even with that awareness, with that foreknowledge in our subliminal depths. And the subliminal is a consciousness larger than our surface existence.
Okay.
So we're not aware of the subliminal very much. But Sri Aurobindo, maybe we can even go through that next week. But
Okay.
he is a luminous individual power, capital P,
Hmm.
alone, and he's alone. He's the witness of all that's happening. So we're almost at 5 o'clock. If you can read the whole thing,
Sure.
great.
Yeah. Obedient to world nature's dumb control, driven by his own formidable power, his chosen partner in a titan game, her will he has made the master of his fate, her whim the dispenser of his pleasure and pain. He has sold himself into her regal power for any low or boon that she may choose, even in what is suffering to our sense. He feels the sweetness of her mastering touch. In all experience, meets her blissful hands. On his heart he bears the happiness of her tread, and the surprise of her arrival's joy in each event and every moment's chance. All she can do is marvelous in his sight. He revels in her, a swimmer in her sea.
Revels, revels.
Revels. He
He revels.
revels, yeah,
Mhm.
he revels in her, a swimmer in her sea, a tireless amateur of her world delight.
Amateur, amateur.
Amateur. Okay, a tireless amateur of her world delight. He rejoices in her. He rejoices in her every thought and act,
Good.
and gives consent to all that she can wish. Whatever she desires, he wills to be. The Spirit, the innumerable One, he has left behind his lone eternity. He is an endless birth in endless time, but finite's multitude in an infinite space. The Master of existence lurks in us and plays at hide and seek with his own force. In nature's instrument loiters secret guard. The immanent lives in man as in his house. He has made the universe his pastimes field, a vast gymnasium of his works of might. All-knowing, he accepts our darkened state, divine, bear shapes of animal or man. Eternal, he ascends to fate and time, immortal, dallies with mortality. The all-conscious ventured into ignorance. The all the all-blissful bore to be insensible, incarnate in a world of strife and pain. He puts on joy and sorrow like a robe, and drinks experience like a strengthening wine. He whose transcendence rules the pregnant vasts, prescient, now dwells in our subliminal depths, a luminous individual power alone.
Very good. Thank you, Shilpa.
Thank you so much, Naradji. This was very powerful. Thank you.
Good. Thank
I
you.
understood.
Okay. See
Yeah.
you next week.
See you next week. Have a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.